So today I'm here at a Toyota dealership because I want to check on their inventory levels, see their pricing, and see what vehicles they actually have here sitting on the ground. So the story across the car market right now is that every dealership across the nation is having an inventory surge where days of inventory is going up. Manufacturers are channel stuffing a lot of these brands, a lot of these franchise dealers, and it's becoming very difficult for a lot of these dealerships. I'm on this Toyota dealership right here today, and that's not what I'm seeing. So what's the story? One thing I can say about inventory levels going up across the market is that it's going to be very good for just about every participant that's involved, except for one, but we'll get into that in just a second. Here's a Highlander. I want to check this out while we're here. I always like black color. I like the black rims. It looks nice. Yeah, Highlander HEV XLE, all-wheel drive. Price is $52,953. So now we have to ask ourselves, well, we are seeing an increased number of inventory across the nation for every brand, even Toyota, even though I'm seeing this right here behind me. So is it an economy problem where people just aren't buying cars, where the consumer is very weak? Is it a brand problem where you have brands like Jeep, Dodge, Ram, you have Ford that are getting way overloaded by their manufacturers. They're channel stuffing a lot of these dealerships, and the dealerships can't sell through as many vehicles as they're actually getting. Well, we have Toyota that's also increasing inventory across their dealers, but then we see a dealership like this that it doesn't look like that's the case at all. So is it the case that this is actually a really good dealership? They do good volume, they're moving through a lot of their inventory, and a lot of other Toyota dealerships aren't keeping up because maybe they have a different way of selling vehicles than this current dealership that I'm on right now. And I want to check this 4Runner here. I like this. I like this. It's cool because it's got that little hood scoop. It doesn't do anything, not for something like this, but at least it looks cool. And this is the TRD Sport. Yeah, it's got everything. It's the premium package, and on this one it is right at $60,000. That's a lot of money for a vehicle, but I absolutely love these things. I will say that I want to eventually get me a nicer SUV to drive, and 4Runners are at one of my they're probably going to be my top chase for that. I think maybe a Lexus, but I don't know. I love Toyota, I love Lexus. My wife drives a Honda. That's what we're all about. One thing I don't see a lot of, I mean, there's a Tacoma up there, I think there's a Tundra up front, but about 12 months ago Toyota was screaming, and their dealerships were screaming about a truck problem, and they were overrun with Tacomas, with Tundras that a lot of people did not want to buy. And I think that this dealership has done a pretty good job actually liquidating a lot of that. But when I was here at this dealership, all I could see, all in this front lot right here, was nothing but Tundras and Tacomas. And we just don't see that right now. So I wonder if this has been a thing where the dealership, I don't know how the ordering system works for Toyota dealers, but if they're able to change their allocation process where they took trucks basically off the menu because they were like, okay, they're not selling, I want to sell stuff that actually sells. And with this being a higher level volume Toyota dealer than most, then maybe they get to pick and choose. I don't know how any of that system works. That'd be a good thing for me to ask a sales manager. But it's crazy to see the difference between 12 months ago, nothing but trucks, problem selling trucks, dealers didn't want the trucks. Consumers at that point, it seems like they didn't want the Tacomas and the Tundras, and now it's different, right? None down there, we've got a couple up here, but far cry from what it was. And check this out right here. So Sequoia, this is the big boy, that's platinum version too. This is probably going to be the most expensive thing on this lot. And there it is, $87,000. I mean, it's sweet, $87,000. That's crazy money for that thing. But here's the thing, they only have one of them, so people are buying them. That's the thing. You wonder, okay, how can these manufacturers get away with selling $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 vehicles that are on these lots? We go back to like the Grand Wagoneer at Jeep, and they were selling them for $110,000, $120,000 in some cases. And you just always ask the question, who is buying this vehicle? Well, somebody is, because they keep producing them. Now, maybe with the Wagoneer, we can say no, because they're cutting the production on that, and we saw the level hurt that dealerships experience from holding those vehicles. But for a Sequoia, they only got one of them here, $90,000. They're selling them. I don't know that I've seen one of these. It's not a RAV4. I'm guessing it's a Corolla Cross. That's what my guess is. But this looks smaller than what the Crosses were last year. No, Corolla Cross HV XSE. Ooh, it's still almost $40,000. I mean, this is a tiny, tiny vehicle for a $40,000 vehicle. I mean, it looks cool. If you watch this channel, you know I'm constantly on the move, whether I'm at the auction, whether I'm helping out around the lot, or filming videos for YouTube. Everything is always moving in my life. And here's the thing, planning out meals in advance is very difficult for me to do. And that's why Cook Unity makes sense for a person like me, always on the move, but still want to eat good food. Cook Unity works with chefs across the U.S. to make fresh, ready-to-eat meals that are delivered straight to your doorstep. These aren't frozen meals. Each one is labeled with the chef's name and designed to be heated and eaten without any prep. You order everything online through their menu, where you can scroll through different meals and dietary options, pick what you want, and move on. No shopping, no cooking, no planning days ahead just to eat something decent. When the meals arrive, everything's already portioned and labeled. My wife and I were able to try a lot of meals from Cook Unity. Cook Unity partners with chefs like Ruben Garcia, who spent the last 10 years cooking in restaurants around New York. Now he's making fresh meals for Cook Unity. His grilled chicken risotto was my wife's favorite dish out of the whole lineup. You peel the film, heat it up, and eat. The meals taste great, and it really saves a lot of time on those busy days, and that's the point. It's built for people who want good food ready when they are, without fast food or a full kitchen routine. Cook Unity is offering my viewers 50% off on your first order. Go to the link in the description now to try Cook Unity and get 50% off chef-made meals delivered right to your door. Or click the link below and use my code CARS50, that's CARS50, to get 50% off your first Cook Unity order. And I want to thank Cook Unity for sponsoring today's video. One thing I will say about this is you notice the color, and you see over here some blues, a darker blue, some lighter blues. You still see your regular whites and grays, and there's a sea of gray on this. Manufacturers right now, it seems like they're getting so bland when they're having black, white, silver. That's about the only colors that you see at a lot of these manufacturers. Toyota, we still have a little bit of variety, but you go to Mercedes, you go to like Ford. Ford is probably one of the worst offenders, where all their trucks are white, gray, and black. It's boring. But now I love a car that's black. My car's right there, and it's black, and I like the color of it. But you just need to see more variety in the car market. I get complaints about that all the time. I see them in the comments that it's very uninspiring to go to dealership lots and look for a vehicle because everything looks the same. And you know what? I mean, you can even look at this line, even that Toyota that does a little bit better, you see some interesting colors there, but look at this whole line right here. Gray, gray, white, white, gray, gray, black, white. That's what you get. So with inventory levels going up the way they have been, let's talk about the weakness of the consumer. Right now we know that auto loan delinquencies are at the highest rate that's at least in recorded history that we've ever seen. And then you have repo rates that might not be as high as they were back in the financial crisis, but we have a lot of banks that are extending and pretending, and they're not getting these cars back. We know that CarMax and Carvana, their delinquency rates have gone through the roof, but their repo rates haven't risen at the same amount, and that's because they're not wanting to use the repo crisis term, because that would not be good for their share prices, their stocks. And I know CarMax has already imploded on itself, but there's just not this alarm bell going off that companies are raising yet, because they're just not going after these cars. So there's a lot of cars on the roads right now that are 60, 90 days behind on their payments, but they're still allowed to stay in their cars because these companies aren't repoing them. But here's the thing, that 60, 90 days behind on their payment, they're not coming to this Toyota dealership to buy a brand new car. They're not going to any car dealership right now to buy a brand new car. They can't afford the monthly payment that they have right now. They're not going to be able to go and trade in, put some money down, and upgrade to another car. So that is a lot of weakness that this market is experiencing right now that's not going to get better anytime soon, because these consumers that are already so far behind on those payments, in I would say probably 80+% of those cases, and it might be closer to 100%, those cars are eventually going to get repossessed. And then when that car gets repossessed, they can't be one of these franchise dealers' customers anymore, because when they have that repo on their credit from that new car that they bought and paid way overpriced for, what, 2, 3, 4 years ago, they're no longer going to be a new car buyer. They're going to go into like a buy here, pay here dealer. That's the only place that they're going to be able to get credit to be able to buy the vehicle. And at that point, then they start this wealth destruction spiral that is 25% interest on a used car that might not even last 3 years, and the loan is for 5 years. And one thing, like a year and a half ago, that was impossible to find at a lot of these Toyota dealerships were RAV4s, and we have lots of them. This is a good thing going back to inventory that people actually want. And let's check out this. This is an XLE, so this is one of the higher level trims that we can see. 2026 XLE front wheel drive. $36,498. And here they got window tint $499, not my favorite, but it can come off. And one thing I do want to point out here, even though we see lots of empty spots, but we still have products here that we haven't been able to find in quite a bit. We got a lot of 4Runners here, and the 4Runners months ago I didn't see very many of them here. So it's a good thing that we're actually getting some inventory that it seems like people really want to buy. But the one thing that I don't see is Siennas. We saw some Siennas last time I was here. Actually, there might be one down there, but we're seeing a lot more sedans, right? So this is one good thing that I think Toyota and Honda do that a lot of other manufacturers are going away from. They still offer the Toyota Camry. They still offer the Honda Accord. If you're buying a sedan right here in this market right now, that's probably what you're going to gravitate to. And Toyota and Honda, they're going to continue to increase their market share because they offer something like this when Ford has taken away like the Fusion, when you have Jeep, Dodge, and Ram that don't even offer a product that's even similar to something like this for a small family. Or if, I mean, you're looking at a lot of these other companies, they're spending their money, they're putting their money where the margin is, and that's going to be in the bigger trucks and the bigger SUVs. That's where they make more money, but you still see that Honda, Toyota still gravitating to what their consumers actually really want, and that's affordable four-door sedans. Now, still very, very expensive, but this is something that's offered here where it's not offered really anywhere else. And I did want to check out one of these for the pricing just so we can see it. This is a Toyota Camry. It's going to be 2026. It's an SE model, so it's a lower level trim. Still $35,797, and I mean here they've got a modern protection package. I don't like that. Usually, in a lot of cases, in the stuff that I've looked at around here, I haven't seen a lot of add-ons. Still $995, not my favorite, but in my estimation, you still be able to get that off as soon as you walk in. But total price here is $36,792. Oh, gross. Let's do a little experiment though, since we're right here. Take that number and what's a good interest rate for a consumer right now? Prime is probably going to be between 7 and 8% is what's going to be your interest rate when you're buying a vehicle from here. And we can take this total amount right here, right at $37,000, and the average loan term right now is like 72, 84. Ugh, it's gross. So let's do a 72-month loan. They put a little bit down and like $3,000 down, and then stretch that out over the course, and this is what they're actually end up paying over the course of that entire loan. It's crazy how much interest that you're going to pay on a vehicle, and that's one of the more affordable cars that you can buy in this car market right now. Crazy. So for these dealerships, when they're able to get more inventory on their actual dealership, it might hurt them as far as holding costs if they can't move them out. But for good dealerships, like what I envision I'm standing on right now, is that when they have the inventory here, they sell through it a lot. Now, their margins might come down, but when volumes go up, then they can actually make more money on the back-end products. This is what the car market used to look like, where these dealerships, these franchise dealers, they don't make very much money on the front-end products. They don't make very much money when they're actually selling this vehicle. Where they're making their money is F&I, back in the back office, where they're selling products, the financing products, where they're selling insurance, where they're selling warranties, things like that. That's where they can make a ton of money. And if they can do more volume, then they have more chances to make money on those products that are very, very high margin. Okay, on the customer side, when you have more inventory that's coming to these dealerships, well, Well, that means what? You're going to get better prices on brand new vehicles. You're going to have more incentives that come from the manufacturer. You're going to have percentages that come off these vehicles, because in a lot of ways, when these dealerships want to do volume, they want to hit sales goals, and to do that, you catch them at the right time, you can actually get a pretty good deal off a brand new car. So that's good for you as a consumer. For me as a small used car dealer, when these dealerships have a lot more inventory sitting on their lot, when they try to do more volume, then that means they're going to take in more trade-ins. And when that happens, I can get more vehicles into the auctions, and it brings the supply level of what I can buy up greatly. And when my supply goes up, I can have better prices. And when I can buy cars cheaper, I can sell more cars, because I can then sell them cheaper. And that's my business model, is I want to do volume. I'm a small used car dealer, but we still do 60, 70, sometimes 80 cars a month. And when you're talking about that kind of level, the cheaper that I can have those cars on my lot, the less risk that I'm going to take in my inventory, and the more money I can make, just because I'm going to be pumping out more vehicles than what I have been, because trade-ins just haven't been there at the auctions. But what I will say, the one place that could suffer from this is actually the manufacturers. So what they figured out over the last 4 or 5 years now is that they can make more money by keeping their margins up and producing fewer vehicles. It costs them less to run when they have to pump out fewer vehicles. And when people are paying $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 for a lot of these trucks that they can send to their dealerships, well, then they can make more money per vehicle. So when they have to actually get more volume out to make more money, that's going to hurt these manufacturers and get back. They don't want to go back to the volume game. They don't want to go back to adding tons and tons of incentives to these dealerships to be able to get cars, to get customers to actually say yes and move some of this metal. It's not a good look for them. And here's the thing. That's how the car market used to work. That's how it used to operate. That's what it seemed like when it was actually healthy. And that's not a place they want to go back to. But the consumer right now is forcing their hand. These dealerships right now are forcing their hand. And if they want to actually move metal, they're going to have to lower the price. If they lower the price, well, to make the same amount of money that they were making, they got to sell more units. Going back to the volume game, and the manufacturers don't want it, but they're going to have to go back to it. Now, what I will say, silver lining for a lot of these dealerships right now with their increased inventory, is that we're approaching spring selling season. I mean, we're starting it right now. I can even say for my dealership, now I'm nowhere close to the similar type of model that a lot of these franchise dealers run, but even for my dealership, I sell cars that are $5,000 and under. We're getting hammered right now. And it's tax time. It's spring selling season. It's when people come out. It's been cold for a long time. It's getting a little bit warmer. People get a little bit extra money in their pocket because they get refunds from their taxes, and they spend it. In a lot of cases, they spend them on cars. And this is the busiest time of the year for a lot of, I know, small dealerships like mine, but even these franchise dealerships will see a pop during this time period, because even if they can't come to like my dealership and use their, what they do coming to my dealership is they'll get a tax check of like $4,500, $5,000, and they'll come buy a $4,500 car from my car dealership and pay for it in full. They're able to do that because they have that cash. But other people that are still okay, like taking on car payments and feel like they can afford it, what they'll do is they'll take that $4,500 and they'll come put it down on one of these brand new cars and then just start their payment. So you do see a bump in the car market, even on these franchise level vehicles that are $40,000, because people just have more money in their pockets. And even though they can't pay outright for the car, they can still have the down payment to be able to get into a loan at a lot of these dealerships.